each tribe is focused around one deal. So that's another very unique thing about these open tribes is it's very specific to one deal. And by making it one deal, we've really simplified things.
If you're not conscious about your investment strategy, you won't end up where you want to be, not financially or as a human. On this show, we interview highly successful investors and share how they overcame limitations to become unstoppable forces of success. If you're ready to learn what it is to be a conscious investor so you can end up where you want, keep listening.
Conscious investor, welcome back. I'm always delighted to share space with you, and I'm especially excited about this episode because we're going to be talking about Tribevest. And it's a way for you to invest collectively with your friends and family into syndications and other investments. And I have the founder and CEO, Travis Smith, with me for this episode. And before I invite him into the, to speak to you, and before we dive into that conversation, I just want to remind you, episodes 365 are educational episodes. They're anchor episodes. So if you're wanting to share, hey, what is an accredited investor? Maybe you have a friend that you're starting to draw them into the investing space, or maybe you feel like you need that refresher. Episodes 365, A, B, C, D, we'll just go through the alphabet at some point. There are going to be a lot of these, but they're there to serve you and trying to make it easy 365 days in the year. There are probably 365 really important things you should know. All right, we're going to stop there with all the introductions because I want to honor everyone's time, and we're going to run out of time. I already know that because Travis and I are going to just dive in and answer so many questions and just explore all this potential of Tribevest for you. Travis, I have been looking forward to recording this for 2 weeks. So thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Julie, it is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Really been looking forward to this as well. So thank you.
Yeah, Tribevest is such a great platform. It's such a great opportunity. I've spent time with, a Tribevest staff member walking through what is Tribevest, how does this work? And so I have this base level knowledge and understanding about it, but this is something that is new to so many investors. So since you and I both know a little bit more about it, why don't we bring the conscious investor up to speed as to what is it, how did Tribevest come about, and how will it serve them?
Great question. So Tribevest has made group investing 10 times easier, 10 times faster, 10 times safer, 10 times less expensive, and infinitely more transparent. And so that's, really what we've done. We've provided a platform that just makes it so easy to harness and leverage the power of your tribe, power of the community to come together, pull capital, and participate in something that maybe you wouldn't or couldn't on your own. And we're just thrilled about that. I think a little bit about where we came from is an important part of that story because it's so core to who we are and our why. So to give you an idea of where Tribevest came from, you have to go back 15 years ago. My brothers and I were on a fishing trip that we couldn't afford. We couldn't afford it. And on that fishing trip, we were talking about, hey, we need to be thinking about how do we find financial freedom? We all had we went to school, we got good grades, we went out and, got a good job, had a good income. We were contributing to our 401k, but something was telling us that was never going to be enough. In fact, one of the big things that came up and hit us was just months before that fishing trip. My dad and his sisters, who I consider the original tribe, they had bought a cottage in Cape Cod where all the aunts and uncles and cousins would come together, and where cousins really became brothers and sisters and became to be such a tight family despite being spread out throughout the country. And that cottage, just months before this fishing trip, they were put in a position where they had to sell it. And there we were, adults, and thinking we're doing great, and then finding out that we weren't in a position to purchase that incredibly valuable and important asset. And that was the wake-up call for us. And so on that fishing trip, we said, what are we going to do to turn things around? And everybody we knew that had financial freedom, that had cash flow and living their best life, they owned a business they owned real estate, and they were real estate investors. And so that was our plan. We wanted to invest in real estate. Now we had a problem. We had lack of education, lack of network, lack of confidence, lack of deals, all those things. We didn't have the conscious investor, community at that time. It didn't exist. So we turned to each other. We turned to our tribe, just like mankind has been doing since the beginning. And that's where we kind of found this confidence and willingness to do things together. And then the other big thing that we lacked was capital. Right? We lacked capital. We had good incomes again, but when it came time to investing in the private markets and real estate, Julie, as you know, there's certain thresholds that you have to get over. So our big plan was to come together, file an LLC, open up a business bank account, start our family business, if you will, and then pull capital and do our first deal. And that's what we did. We pulled our capital together. We got in our first real estate syndication, 15 years ago, a physician's office in Pasadena, California. One deal led to another. We kept reinvesting our assets. And now we look back and we realize that by forming and funding that investor tribe, we unlocked a future that none of us could have achieved on our own. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think the origin story is still true, holds true to who we are and why Tribevest deserves to exist and why we're so passionate about the work we're doing. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that story maybe resonates with some of your audience out there.
I know that resonates with a lot of investors I speak with. And currently, we have an investment option for our investors where the offering, the deal is the minimum investment is larger than our traditional minimums. So it was the reason I went to this, which is very similar to the reason that you and your brothers pooled your capital. I'm like, okay, I have investors that I know have been working diligently to get to our typical minimum investment amount. And they've reached that. And now they're not at that. It's twice as much as what that traditional minimum is. And so, it's like our goal at Three Keys Investment is always helping serve and support all investors in taking their first or next investment step. And so I was like, okay, I need to create a vehicle, a path for these investors to be able to move forward, similar to you and your brothers. Like, how do we get to that minimum investment amount? How can we do that? Well, we can collect everybody together and we can approach it in that capacity and serve everybody powerfully.
You're right. And what I found is, some of the best deals are the ones that have the highest thresholds out there. And there's a reason for that. But it makes it a challenge for the rest of us nonetheless. And I think what you're kind of starting to see is the Tribevest platform and infrastructure provides a platform that empowers us as a community to overcome that threshold, to come together and pool our funds and be able to write one check at that minimum or at whatever threshold and get into these deals. And that's our really, if you boil it, that's our purpose out there, to help give access to people and to group invest so that they can participate in these wealth building investments. We didn't invent group investing. We just made it really accessible. The super wealthy, they invest together all the time, but they have attorneys and advisors at the ready, and they're spending a lot of money in order to benefit from a group doing things together. And now with Tribevest, everybody can do it.
It's so powerful. So let me ask you, let's go down this rabbit hole, if you don't mind. I'd love to explain, there are some different ways, different vehicles, if you will, different structures, conscious investor that Tribevest offers. And I'm going to utilize for our investors who can't make that minimum is different than what Travis and his brothers created for themselves. So there's some different ways that you can utilize Tribevest. For our company, Three Keys Investments, we're moving forward with using an open tribe. And so can we talk about what is an open tribe so that some of those investors that are going to be joining this open tribe, they'll understand really what is it and how does it work?
Yes, Julian, thanks for that setup, because it is important to know, my brothers and I story led to Tribevest and us building out this platform. And we say, and it is, we've built the banking and the collaborative infrastructure of the private investing world. So anybody in whatever private investing, you can come use our platform, form an investor group, and do things together. And it's been really exciting to see because we've offered this very broad, flexible, feature-rich platform that people are coming and investing in whatever, right? And it's an amazing thing. It's whatever they're most comfortable with. It's what they know the most. It's wherever they're the most connected. It's it's where there's proximity. But it's just been fun to see, like, we couldn't even believe all the things that Tribevesters are doing together. But it's very broad. It's, single family, it's short-term rental, it's passive investing into real estate syndication, it's lending tribes, it's tribes getting into franchises, it's tribes that are investing in art together and cars and, all sorts of things. So I only kind of start here because I want to talk about how we've gotten really focused and providing deeper solutions and even becoming more turnkey in a certain vertical. And our platform, what we've heard and seen from our investors and tribes is that we are a great ready fit for passive investing into real estate syndications. And so we're building solutions around there. And Julie, you mentioned one that we've rolled out, and it's called the Open Tribe. And how it works is a community of people like the one here can all look at a deal and group. We call it like you're doing communitying. You're communitying. Try saying that the deal. You're looking at it. You're excited about it, and you want to participate in it. And you have a group of you. Well, we can open up a tribe where everybody can just come in and join it and participate. And you say, well, what's unique about that? Well, you think about kind of a traditional tribe is you need a founder, an initiator. You need to, go out and decide what you're going to invest in. You have to go find all your members. So there's just a lot of work, to be honest with you. Even though we made it 10 times easier, there's a lot of work. But what's so cool is when you find a group of investors that are already set on a deal, man, it can come together in a really easy way. And all the members have to do is join. And then Tribevest provides a lot of the services So, for example, helping all the members come on and ratify the operating agreement in which you're operating. We open up the FDIC insured business bank account. And by the way, this is all on a transparent dashboard, right? So much of our magic, like how have we made group investing a thing? It's really through transparency. So on this, all the members are on a dashboard, the bank account, all the documents, all your records, all your transactions, all right here. And through Tribevest and the Open Tribe, we help you onboard your members, and then they wire or ACH the capital contributions into the tribe, and then Tribevest will even wire out that capital to the deal. So now the group of you that maybe wouldn't have gotten in on your own together are participating in this deal. And then we're managing the distributions that come out. So, most of these deals are cash flowing, which we love. And Tribevest will chop up that distributions and send it out to all the members based on your ownership percentage. So just another kind of service, because there's like, cool, this is awesome, but there's still some admin and management that needs to happen with this group, right? Yeah, but Tribevest has really made that super streamlined. Same thing with the taxes. So for example, the entity is going to get a 1K1 from the investment, right? Well, Tribevest, and in this service, we make sure we deliver K1s to each individual member. So, it's really leveraging what we've built in terms of the infrastructure, but we've brought it all together so that it's all accounted for when it comes to investing as a group into a real estate syndication opportunity.
And for me, one, thank you for that, because I think that provides so much clarity, especially if someone's new, conscious investor. This is likely the first time you've heard about Tribevest in this vehicle. So, but there's a minimum investment of $250,000, and you're at that. I've got the $50,000. Now here's this opportunity. So for, you could create your own tribe, or a GP like myself is like, okay, how do we serve our investors powerfully, and bringing this together? One thing I was super impressed with was the level of transparency. I feel like it's even a greater level of transparency than what oftentimes investors see in syndications, because who the other investors are. If I understand it correctly, we know the percentages. It's not hidden from anybody. It's there. And that, maybe you put in the minimum $50,000, and maybe someone else threw in $75,000. And so you can see that modeled out and the ownership.
Absolutely. Yes. You nailed it. I mean, transparency is the key. And I think you've kind of picked up on, how passionate we are about what we're doing. But, we're building a multi-billion-dollar business. We're still early. We're only a few years in here, and only have a few thousand tribes on our platform right now. But our plan is to be a big company and change the world. And so how do we do that? Well, we have to change things. We have to go against kind of how things have been done, from the establishment. And just a couple of things are, number one, we're providing a neutral third party. So everybody's coming on. We're a neutral third party. We don't get paid on the deal. We don't get paid as a percent of, anything that you guys are doing. None of that. It's all a software as a service. So we can just focus on making sure that this is easy and safe for the group. So that's number one. We serve as that neutral third party. And then secondly, the transparency. So for us to really change the world out there and make group investing commonplace everywhere, it really comes down to transparency. And that's a big part of this, because it's the mystery that, kind of makes things difficult. So it's not that you're not doing business with good people and people you know, like, and trust. It's always, but where are we in this? And they forget that. And with Tribevest, it's all right there. You just log in and you're immediately, know the status and reminded of, all the transactions you've done in the past and what's coming up in the future. So transparency is such a key part of this.
I'm going to add in there that there are a lot of companies, a lot of teams that transition their investor portals. And I say this is a sensitive subject to me right now because we transitioned our investor portal, and that just creates friction for investors. And we like to make investing, especially passive investing, as easy and seamless as possible. I love that this is streamlined. This is your investor portal. This is where you're going to access all of your information at any given time. And you can see real time what's taking place.
Absolutely. And I think it is important to know, especially when it comes to open tribes and Tribevest Pro tribes, is one way that we've been able to really wrap this service and automate it and make it so simple. An important point is each tribe is focused around one deal. So that's another very unique thing about these open tribes is it's very specific to one deal. And by making it one deal, we've really simplified things. There's not multiple deals or anything like that going on. So with one, Tribevest can really wrap around our services and make this turnkey, easy, seamless, and everything else. So that's just an important point. It kind of to make sense for an open tribe. One, you need a community of investors, which is here. You need to find a deal that you're excited about. And if you have that, if you have the community, you have a deal, and you open a tribe, then you have the investors. This is a really awesome tool that streamlines this a lot.
I love this. I'm going to echo one more element of this with the open tribe is having that. And I started to share this with you and I said, no, I'll just share that on the podcast. Is one of the visions that we have at Three Keys Investments to support you, conscious investor, is, well, not everyone is ready to place that $100,000, that $250,000 minimum, but maybe you have that $25,000 that, and you have $25,000 and you invest that. And if we meet our returns, as we always aim to double our investor capital, guess what? At the end of that hold, you have $50,000. And that opens new opportunities. And then you reinvest that $50,000 and now it becomes $100,000. And so just that continual snowball effect, but being willing to provide a place for investors to incubate and to grow and to really nurture them through that investor journey. So you are the rising middle class, and it's not fun being squished on both sides. And so we really want to support people in really breaking through.
Yeah, our missions are so aligned there, Julie. I love that. And you're right. It's just important to get started because you just kind of shine the light on once you get started. And you kind of heard it in my brothers and I story. It was like we did our first deal, and then we rolled that over into our next deal, and then we rolled it over into our next deal. And it's just this compounding effect. And the great thing about real estate investing and residential syndications is you take advantage of all the benefits that come with it, right? Kind of all the secrets of the wealthy, right? You get appreciation, right? You get cash flow, money coming back from your investment. You get your principal back, right? And there's so many tax advantages that come when you're investing in real estate too. That's, just traditional, conventional investing. You're missing out on, most of the, what's great about investing. And with real estate, you have, what I say is you have options. And when you have options, you have opportunity. And that's, with options and opportunity, you have freedom. So anyway, I really liked how you were talking about, you get in on your first one and then you do your next one, and it has this incredible compounding effect.
It is a compounding effect from experience. So what's the difference between an open tribe and a pro tribe? Since we mentioned that, and then from there, let's go from, because we're really conscious investor, we're working this backwards. We're starting out with the open tribe. What would a syndicator be using to support their investors? And then we're going to just extrapolate that, to the finer point of, maybe you want to create your own tribe. So we're getting there. Don't worry, conscious investor, we're getting to you.
Absolutely. And that pro tribe could be the tribe that you end up starting. So let's just kind of talk about the differences and when that makes sense. So we've talked about the open tribe. That's a community coming together, rallying around a deal, and all coming in to participate in that deal together, and all that turnkey services that come with that. One deal.
That's it.
One deal. Now, so much of what I'm going to tell you about Pro Tribe, very similar. But there's just these subtle differences. So again, Pro Tribe, one deal. It's around one deal. But the big difference here is there's a champion. There's a champion that is a limited partner investor. So they've done deals before, and let's say it's $100,000, and they're not necessarily concerned about the $100,000. They probably will participate in open tribes because they want to get into more deals and all those things and diversify a little bit. But in this case, they're willing to get in at $100,000. And most syndicators out there, Julie, as you know, there's the normal terms of like getting into when to the minimum. And then if you ask, and you're good at this, you can say, hey, are there any preferred terms if you come in at a higher amount? And it almost is always yes. And then you have to listen to, well, how big of a check do I have to write? And then you have to hear, and what are the increased preferred terms that you get, or being able to get into an additional share class or a different share class. So a subtle difference, but it's less about writing a smaller check, and it's more about leveraging your community, writing the same size check to hit a, say, $500,000 threshold, $1 million threshold, or whatever that threshold is. And then what's happened? So you were a limited partner investing on your own. And now with your group, you become what we call as a super limited partner, a super LP, because you're still a limited partner, which by the way is good. Like you get paid first, you have all the preferred stuff. There's a lot of great things about being a limited partner. But now with your tribe, your pro tribe, you can actually become that super limited partner. So still a limited partner, but you're getting increased terms. Did you follow me on that one?
I'm following you on that one.
Okay.
Now I can hear the conscious investor saying, so what's different about going that route than start opening a fund?
Yeah, great question. So here's the big difference. Tribevest is a multi-membered LLC partnership governed by an operating agreement. So everybody in that tribe is an active member and an owner of that LLC. And so the other thing that's, important in this particular scenario and, all the scenarios is no one's getting additional payment in that tribe. So everybody's equally getting the benefit of it. So if we all wrote $100,000, even though I'm the champion, I'm still just getting the additional preferred, benefits or terms, just like everybody else in there. So as soon as you start to say, hey, you're acting more like a fund and a fund manager, and you want to get paid for it, which is great, perfect, but that's not a fit for Tribevest Pro. In this case, it really is saying, hey, I'm going to write $100,000 check anyway. I know 9 other people are writing $100,000 checks in this community. Why don't we come together, reach that threshold, and we all get this, significant, as you know, over 5-7 years, that additional percent or 2 is a big deal.
It's a big deal. And that's a really good distinction or differentiation. So when we look at that distinction, that difference between, say, the fund and Tribevest Pro, it's really important to understand everybody is equal in the Tribevest Pro. Nobody's getting paid more. When we're looking at a fund model, there is going to be a fund manager, and that fund manager, conscious investor, is compensated in a very similar way to an asset manager in a traditional syndication. And so they are getting a little extra. And by the way, if you're looking into a fund, you want to look at that operating agreement very carefully so that you understand what is their compensation, how and when are they being compensated. So this really creates that, like you keep, referring to the high level of transparency. This is a transparency. This is how it is orchestrated. In this model, we are all equals. Nobody's getting more just because they're spearheading this type of more in the sense of they just get that 1% more. Everybody's going to win, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of everybody winning. I'm like Oprah with everybody wins. Let's make this happen.
Abundance. Yeah.
Yes.
And look, I'm all for, there's a lot of hard work that goes out there for fund managers, and you can imagine, and they deserve the compensation, but you can imagine the fund managers are also excited about everything Tribevest does, right? Because we do all the heavy lifting, the non-sexy stuff of having a platform, onboarding the members, making that herding of the cats easy, and we manage the cap table and the banking, and so they're like, oh, this is great, but it's just kind of the way it is. But as soon as we say and everything's transparent, all of a sudden that model breaks down a little bit. So I think when you have core principles, it's when you're able to say, nope, we're not a fit in that case, because we're not going to turn off our transparency, because that's who we are. So anyway, I hope that commentary, again, just helps you have a better understanding and more appreciation for what Tribevest is. And we're really comfortable with who we are. And we serve the limited partner. We serve that investor. We serve that investor.
I love that. So let's transition this. We've gone from open tribes to pro tribes. And now let's talk about the basic tribe, like family and friends, what does that look like?
And this goes back to kind of the original, our first.
Ooh, it's the OG tribe. You guys need to just call it the OG tribe.
We're working on the naming and framing. So thank you. Julie and I had a good conversation in the green room before this. I think I'm going to pick your brain a little bit on some marketing stuff, but it is. It's the OG tribe, and it's an investor group. It's an investor group, and we've made it so easy to come together with your friends, with your family, with your community, with your colleagues, however it is, and form a business, and then you decide what the plan is. So again, the big distinction between open tribes and pro tribes and Tribevest Pro is really the rallying is a deal, right? The deal kind of has to come first, and you have to have that circled with investors that are all excited about that same deal. And as soon as you have that, the open tribe and the pro tribe, awesome. And then, without having the deal and all that, you're coming together with your tribe but there's so many different applications. Like, hey, experimental tribe. Hey, let's form an investor group, and I want to learn how to invest in a new asset class. I don't want to go put $100,000 into a new asset class, but I'd love to put $20,000 in with a group of us, and we'll all go out there and kind of learn together, right? And so an experimental tribe is a great example. There's the follow the leader, right? Someone that has been out there and done it before, and they're like, hey, next time you do that, let us know. We want to do it with you. So there's all these different applications out there, and reasons to do it. And we always say, look, because of what the tribe represents, you should be putting 15-20% of your capital with your tribe because of what it represents. Again, it's that, hey, we're experiencing, we're learning together. Anytime you have an OG tribe, that's what you're doing. You're experiencing and you're learning together. So why not take a portion of your capital or your income and start to put it into, and that was really what my brothers and I did. We started to do ACH contributions on a monthly basis because that was the only way we could get out of our own way, right? We weren't going to save $25K and then come together. Instead, we came together and did $500 a month, which isn't much, but at the time that was a stretch for us, and it adds up fast. Between four of us, that was $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. And at the end of that first year, we did our first, $25,000 real estate syndication. And the first was, of course, the most important.
That's what gets everybody started. One of the elements I love about the OG tribe is that, by the way, that's just what we're calling it here, Conscious Investor. When you go to Tribevest, it's not called the OG tribe yet. Maybe we'll change that. But when you are participating in a tribe of that formation, my understanding is that you're voting on it together. You're deciding together with that tribe. What is it we want to invest in? And you can bring, and so I'm going to obviously ask, you, Travis, CEO and founder, just to correct me if my understanding is incorrect, is that, okay, we're in this tribe and we're pooling our money. And in that OG tribe, we're deciding together what we're going to invest in. It's not necessarily identified. This is the one single investment.
Right. It's not necessarily identified. Although, with our technology, you can pull together a tribe, pull your capital, and be investing in the deal in like 3 days. Mm-hmm. So there, more and more, we are seeing, hey, let's invest in this, and then you come form a tribe and do it. So that's absolutely a thing. And then and a lot of times outside of the real estate syndication space. And then, yes, but you're right. A lot of times it's more of like, hey, let's start to look at things like this. That's kind of the purpose of it. And then you come with different deals, you look at them together, and then you vote. And that's, again, one of the services we offer is this platform and dashboard where you can propose motions and record votes and everything else.
Travis, this has been absolutely amazing information because I think this is critical information in really empowering investors to breaking into their first deal, their next deal, or even in really creating that community, that tribe, so that they can rally and get, come on, let's face it, Conscious Investor, we all have our friends that are skeptics that are watching us, and now they want to dabble and maybe join us. And so this is such a great platform for you to be able to invite them in a very safe way where it's all transparent. It's not going to be like, well, what did you do with the money? Huh? You pocketing all that? Because you're not in charge of it. It's in the care of a third party that everyone can see and is visible. So I love that. Travis, I just want to thank you so much for taking time. I mean, you are CEO and founder of Tribevest. So I know your day has been busy already. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to really pour into the conscious investor community and empower them to knowledge is power. And you were giving them that opportunity.
Julie, thank you. Right back at you. We're just proud to be part of the ecosystem and complement really your leadership in what you're doing. You've identified that Tribevest is an empowerment tool for your audience and your investors, and we're just happy to help spread the word and look forward to next time.
Fantastic. Conscious investor, this is your opportunity. So you want to go down to the show notes. You want to go explore, look around, become familiar with Tribevest, because this isn't something that's going to go away. And then you want to make sure, especially, that Three Keys Investments operates under that 506B offering, which serves you, our rising middle-class investor, and our already established accredited investors. It serves both of you. And that's why we chose that. Remember, we've said, we are offering 506Bs because we want to serve and support all investors. And so make sure, by nature of that you have popped down on my calendar so that you and I can talk and learn. I can learn about what your goals are and see if there's a mutual alignment. Because some of you, the conscious investors, know that if our investments are not going to serve you, I have a fantastic network of people that I would happily connect you with to empower your next investing opportunity. So make sure you hop on that. Remember, I don't know who you are unless you come on my schedule onto my calendar. So don't be a stranger. I'm here to serve and support you. Until next time, live big, love bigger, and do great things. What's the big deal about investing in apartments? Why is it better than investing in a slew of single-family homes? I've compiled a lot of information on why investing in a multifamily, also known as apartments, will help you reach your investment goals. Head over to threekeysinvestments.com and download the Why Invest in Multifamily guide today.